Hi there, and welcome to 272analytics.com's tutorial on how to carry out a one-sample t-test in SPSS. In order to do so, we will work with this data set that I already set up in advance of this tutorial. This is the Census 13 data set that actually comes in Stata, which is another program other than SPSS, but I've gone ahead and uploaded it here to SPSS just because I'm used to working with this data set. So let's look at the variable of birth rate. And let's say that we want to test whether the mean birth rate is significantly different from, let's say, 170. How would we do that? Well, the first step is here to go to File, New, Syntax, and then you pull up the syntax editor, and then you put in the code that I'm going to show you in exactly this format. T-test, the test value is 170, which we said. A variable, B rate, we could add in some other variables if we wanted to do some simultaneous testing here. And for a confidence interval, I've gone ahead and put in 0.95, which is standard, but you could amend that, if you like, to 0.99 or 0.90. And once you have this here, what you have to do is not press enter, because that just takes you to a different line, but to click on the green arrow. And what that does here is this, it pulls up this information. I've actually done it once before here, so just you can ignore that. So we see that the mean birth rate is 167.94. We have a standard deviation for that. And then we have the one sample t-test information. And the key figure here is the two-tailed significance, which is 0.622. So we would say that according to this t-test, there is no statistically significant difference between the hypothesized mean of 170 and the actual mean, the actual measured mean of 167.94. Now, I had to phrase that in a specific way because this is a two-tailed test. And so what that just tells you is this mean different from 170? It doesn't tell you whether it's significantly smaller or larger. So for that, what we need to do in SPSS, because it doesn't churn it out on its own. There might be some user-written code somewhere to do that, but I'm not aware of it right at this moment. We'll just take the two-tailed p-value over here and just divide that by 2. And that ends up being the p-value for the claim that the mean is less than 170. Okay, does that make sense? Less than. So this is the p-value for less than. This is the p-value for different from over here. And then what we can do is using this information, this is the p-value for greater than. All right, so does that make sense? This is the p-value for greater than, and you saw how we calculated that. And this 0.622 is the p-value for different from. So let me just do that once again, because this is something that trips a lot of folks up. So you start with the two-tailed p-value, divide by 2. And this is the p-value for the hypothesis that the mean is less than the test value of 170. Again, less than, not different from, not greater than, less than. So we can use this p-value to also figure out the p-value for the hypothesis that this mean is greater than the test value of 170. Once again, SPSS does not do that as a matter of course. So if you need to calculate the one-tailed p-values, it's good to know, how to do that. And when you're done here, a pretty good follow-up would be to do a box plot, search for outliers, histogram, and some other kind of visual support that I have covered elsewhere in other SPSS tutorials. I hope this tutorial was helpful to you, and I would like to invite you to visit 272analytics.com for access to all our free statistics tutorials in Stata, SPSS, R, eViews, and Minitab. Here at 272analytics.com, we provide data consulting primarily to graduate students. Therefore, we work very closely with you in order to perfect your Chapter 3 and Chapter 4. That means helping you design surveys, getting your data input, assisting you with fashioning appropriate research questions and hypotheses, getting your data, extracting them, transforming them, cleaning them, putting them through analysis, interpreting them, explaining them to you, so that at the end of the day, you know exactly what story your data tell, why they matter, what they mean, in a manner that lets you write a perfect chapter 4, following a perfect chapter 3, and lets you defend your dissertation or thesis with complete confidence. We provide ethical consulting. It's not a writing service, so you will be responsible for taking our blueprint, our assistance, our consulting, and transforming them into an appropriate academic project for yourself. I'd also like to remind you that we provide the same services to undergraduate students who are working with quantitatively oriented assignments. Thank you so much for listening and have a great day.